Mr. Colangelo, are any of these carried into the White House?
iPads, sir?
Yes.
We have not deployed iPads for enterprise use.
Are any of these carried into the White House? Have you ever seen one of these in the White House?
Yes.
So people carry a product which circumvents your entire system by going to the AT&T network on a daily basis in the White House. Isn't that true? Nothing stops someone from using this or other Wi-Fi connected, not to any Wi-Fi in the White House, but to AT&T, Verizon, Sprint systems, and they communicate freely from the White House to Gmail or any other account. Isn't that true?
Mr. Chairman, we have strong policy along with enterprise technology that captures our records on the EOP network.
I heard you. Answer my question, please. If I take an app, a product into the White House, as I did last night for dinner,
sure,
I have full communication capability. You don't block any Verizon, Sprint, AT&T, or T-Mobile. The fact is that people every day bring their private property into the White House and can Gmail, Hotmail, and the like from within the White House, correct?
Individuals are not restricted on what they bring into the White House on personal devices on the person.
So someone, if they chose to, could be, emailing back and forth to the DNC from the White House, and you would not have the ability to capture that. Is that correct?
We provide training and policy to staff on.
Please, I'm asking you only the technical questions because you don't make policy.
Correct.
I asked for the policy person. I was denied that person. So let's stick to straightforward. I'm not after the President. I'm not after the administration. I'm after the changes in technology and whether or not we're equipped to deal with them. Today, there are hundreds of products in the old executive office, in the Treasury building, and in the White House proper being used to communicate, whether you like it or not, to private emails. They're simply connected. Is that correct?
That's correct, sir.
Okay. We're not making an issue out of it. That's the reality of the last decade of changes. And I hopefully our work here is not about the current occupant of the White House, but about an act that has survived multiple presidents with ever-changing challenges. Mr. Ferriero, if someone were to produce a book 5 years from now, and they had their Gmail records, their Microsoft Word documents, all of which were produced on private computers using the cloud, while they were sitting inside the White House or working as covered persons for the Office of the President, would you believe you're entitled to that source material under the Presidential Records Act?
If that content was work for that administration, then yes, that's presidential record.
And don't most kiss and tell books that come out after a president is gone, usually, but not always after, don't they basically talk about meetings, experiences, and so on? And ultimately, aren't they most often from information that is either written, typed, or in some other way captured during the time they are either employees of the White House or physically in the White House? That's just the reality of what we see post-president.
Exactly. And in fact, some of the heaviest users of our presidential library's collections are former members of the administration.
They've got to supplement what they took with them. How do you propose in a digital age that we deal with those correspondence that occur? Ultimately, the President is both the head of the armed forces, the head of the administration, and the head of his party. How do we appropriately capture that which we should capture, not capture that which we shouldn't, by statute rather than policy?
Well, as I said, the way the law is written, the control, unlike the Federal Records Act, the control of that content rests with the President and the Vice President. So the position that we have is guidance, is to provide guidance. And Mr. Stern meets with his colleagues from the White House on a regular basis to provide that kind of guidance and to understand how technology is being used in the White House.
Are all of you comfortable that I'll decide which one of my Gmails fits that based on my training is sufficient?
Well, it's our view that both statutes, even though they're old and were written in a time where principally paper records are all-encompassing. They include language about included but not limited to, all formats and all. So any official communications involving their work are presumptively present to record regardless of what system they're used on. It's also our clear understanding from this administration and prior administrations that the policy is you must use the government systems. So
policy but not the statute, and as we already heard, they do use non-government systems. Otherwise, there wouldn't be a policy that when you send and receive on your Gmail, you forward it into the official system. By definition, you can't have it both ways. You can't say the policy is that you only use official, and then the policy is on those many, 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 many occasions in which you don't use the official, please forward for the record.
right,
Clearly, the policy is not getting the job done completely.
well, and I guess the question is, does that occur often, or our understanding is it can occur in emergency situations and the like, and whether it occurs on a regular basis, we're not aware of that.
But let me answer your question. Your question was, are you comfortable? No, I'm not. Anytime there's human intervention, then I'm not comfortable.
Thank you. Mr. Cummings.